You have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
Music.
Oh shit! Sorry, other shit. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Welcome to the cage match. Start an hour, I guess an hour and a half later because we were waiting for the schedule to come out. And then of course, because on this show we do our own graphics. We don't screen share on this show. We make our own graphics, authentic, organic, and all them other words. That means we do our own shizzle over here, okay?
Our own shit.
Anyways, hold on. Anyways, welcome to the cage match. This is the schedule reveal and also a little QB battle, you know. Everyone says battle of the mustaches. Are we gonna have a fight we're gonna have a fight all summer. But before we go to the show, let's do our introduction. What is up, Asylum? How you been?
Oh, the same old, just been, you know, we had to wait an extra week to get the schedule, find out when we're playing, what days, how many primetime games we got, all that other shit, finding out which games you can and can't go to. I got a little let down with the schedule here, but you know what? Shit happens.
Yeah, the Chiefs don't want you in their stadium, okay?
Apparently not. They got a hold of my wife, found out my travel plans for the vacation, and made sure that game was when I was going to be in New York, motherfuckers.
Yep, they said no, we can't have another this guy over here with the cage just showing up, trying to cause havoc in Chiefs Kingdom, scaring Taylor Swift. Can't do that, man. All right? Show respect. She is a generational icon. Okay, you need to stop, all right? I'm still fighting a cold because, you know, it is what it is. And Anna wants to know, how was your anniversary?
I was just responding to it. It was a good anniversary. You know, I mean, 22 years. You know, we kept everything simple. We did our tradition, which was always finding a Mexican restaurant and going out to eat. It's something we started 24 years ago. And every anniversary, we've done it since. So, you know, can't break with traditions.
All right. Exactly. Traditions are what make stuff happen. I don't know. And speaking of traditions,
traditions, and you know what? You start breaking with tradition, then shit just starts going to shit.
Exactly. Like when the Raiders had McDaniels. But speaking of traditions, let's go into our tradition, our favorite segment, our shameless plug.
All right. Catch us on the YouTube channel, The Cage Match Show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, Hit that bell so you know every time that we come on. If you don't do YouTube for whatever reason, you can catch us on Facebook at the Oakland Raiders Savage page or the Asylum page. Go ahead, like, share. If you're into it, give stars. Everything helps. Lets us know you want us to do this and continue to do this. And don't forget, W. Speaking of W, have you tried your W yet?
I haven't tried my W. It's been a long couple weeks. So that's and trying to put the show together and next week's show. It's just a lot of going on in my personal life. So after next week, the show will start to have, whatever. But no, I have not. But I do have my W cup somewhere around here. But I do have my W. And like we always say, when you think of wins, you think of dubs. When you think of dubs, you think of W. Get that energy just like Max Crosby. And like you said, cage match, one word in the promo box code thing to get 10% off
your entire order.
Entire
so the more you
order.
buy, the more you save.
And yes, so now there was some news today and yesterday and the other days. So we're gonna do a new little segment. Do you have it ready?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a new segment. I want to thank James Earl Jones for this one. Thank you very much. We have a new segment that we're going to introduce right now, and here we go.
This is CMN, a cage match news update.
Oh, yes. Now let's go into our first news. Now this was last week's news, but AP talked about it in this press conference. Let's play the clip right now. Do you have it, or am I going to click it?
I guess one of the big stories around the team this week was potentially moving training camp to Southern California. I guess what kind of benefit does it have to get out of the heat, train somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't think it's more about the heat. It's about team bonding. When I played in the National Football League, we never stayed at our facility. I was used to traveling and going away and kind of bunkered up, us and 90 or 85 players at the time, whatever it was, and team bonding, getting together, getting to know one another, get away from all the distractions. All about ball, just ball. I told us I want us to be the tightest group of Raiders that hopefully this organization has seen, and that's what we're going to grow and build on and get that physical toughness that we want to build on in training camp. And, yeah, does it help that it's a little cooler? No doubt. But more importantly, I think it's just good for our team to bond, to get away and just focus on us.
And you heard that right there.
You heard it from the horse's mouth right there.
Yes, they will be having their practice in Costa Mesa, which is down there in the LA area. Do you have any? Do you like? What do you think about that right there, Asylum?
Well, I mean, I think he said it. He said it right there. It's the bonding thing. Now, the comment there about the closest, bonding team ever in Raiders. I mean, you got to remember the '70s Raiders. I mean, if you ever listen to Badasses and that book or read it, in my case, I listened. You hear the stories. They were in Santa Rosa. There was no girlfriends, no nothing like that. And that was a close-knit team. And, yes, it took them forever to get the big win. But they were so close that, they dominated those years. They did everything. They did it together. Even when somebody got traded and they came back to play for another team, they would come back and give them the royal treatment. And having that kind of shit come back to the Raiders, I think is big, is huge. I mean, like you said, it's nothing but football. You got some of these guys who are already close. Now they're going to get even closer. I mean, they're ready to run through a wall for AP. What are they going to be willing to do for each other once they get, that bond, that inseparable bond? If somebody punks one of us, oh God, I feel sorry for that player because, okay, we'll take the 15-yard penalty because somebody's going to get drop kicked like fucking Bobby Boucher, in the water boy and shit.
Yeah, like you said, back in the 70s, the John Madden years, they would go up to Santa Rosa up there, and it was just the players only. And, I mean, not that there were no distractions when you have a quarterback like Ken Stabler and a guy like Matuzak. and
And
Bolitnikov, out there after the fact, going to these local bars and mingling with the locals over there of the female gender.
You got Skip Thomas gonna jump his motorcycle over cars and shit. I mean, all on bed. You had Villapiano paying a stripper or a young girl to run on the field naked. I mean, they had distractions, but they had to let off their steam. But what did they do? They did all that shit together. They started the air hockey league. They did it together.
I mean, Ken Stabler was able to study, focus, while a lot of a jukebox. Oh yeah, and also, I mean, for me, it's kind of like in the movie Remember the Titans. You take them out, like put them in the middle of nowhere ish, and they just have to learn each other, the brotherhood, get that together, because AP is trying to take it back. Speaking of tradition, like you were saying earlier, take it back to the old traditional ways where it was just the players only, and all they're going to do is focus on each other and winning.
Football. That bond. I mean, that defense, right? They came together once they were able to be themselves and went from a bottom of the line defense to a top 5 at least, right? Yeah. Now what's going to happen when they get to fucking eat, sleep, breathe, football together, going out there and, some of them, we know Crosby's, clean cut guy now, stuff like that, but they're going to do their shit together. They're going to build that bond and that line. I mean, Tyree's going to, from what he's heard, Tyree Wilson's already on Crosby's hip. He asked to do nothing but, be Crosby's protege. He wanted to learn. He asked him to teach him. And what happens when he's sitting there? They're sitting, whether they're bunked together or not, but they're going over playbook. They're going over tape. They're doing this. And shit's getting pointed out. Oh, you should have done this here. You should do that there. Oh, next time, you see that, go. And then the other part of being in Costa Mesa is there's 5 other teams within a 100-mile radius. How many joint practices are they going to have? So now they're going to go up against other teams, other starters, other, just differences, little quirks that one player has that you cannot replicate. Like when we did, what was it? I believe it was the Rams last year. Yeah. That offensive line had to go up against Aaron Donald, right? Okay, Aaron Donald. There's no replicating Aaron Donald, but going up against him. And when you go up against somebody of that caliber, just like Max, you can learn Max tendencies and be able to figure things out. But when you got an Aaron Donald in your face or whoever else, a Hutchinson, for example, I know we're not doing with the Lions, but, some shit like that, it's a whole different thing. And what are you going to do? You're going to end up learning from that and only getting better. Yes. That's game live reps without having games.
Yes. And, maybe this, I'm not saying that what the Raiders are doing is translating or whatever to what the NFL eventually is going to do, but with the idea of adding another NFL week to the schedule, this is probably where they're going to go into, where you're going to, instead of having more preseason games or the preseason games, they have one less preseason game because they're going to be focusing, or the teams will be practicing doing the joint practices. You know what I'm trying to say.
The joint practices become more important. They become more important, because you have less reps, less live reps. So, I mean, I think this is good. And I think it's just AP's way of bringing it back to old school. Like he said, he never, had training camp in his own facility. No. He was with the Giants and the Redskins. I said it, Redskins. When he was with them, they were different places.
Yeah.
So he understands that bond. He understands what it could do. And everyone once said they wanted the old school Raiders football back. Well, this is old school Raiders football.
Old school Raiders football, and this is what we're trying to bring back, that mystique. We'll see how that translates when we start playing in the regular season. These players who were out there, Costa Mesa, hitting each other, taking that frustration to the regular season. But before we get into that, next news, John Gruden. Now, John Gruden. Sorry, hold on. Okay, John Gruden. It came out yesterday or today that he lost his case going against the NFL. So now it's going to go into arbitration. They said that it goes something about the Constitution of the NFL, that what he was trying to say, or what he was fighting for, he wanted to basically open up Pandora's box of what the NFL tries to hide back and everything. But when it looked like he was winning the case, this last judge went and shut it down. They will appeal.
It was a panel of 3 judges. 2 out of the 3 said that it falls under the NFL's the contract that he signed, so it should go to arbitration. But let it be known, one of the judges completely agreed with John Gruden and said that he was not part of the NFL at the time. He is not part of the NFL now when all this is trying to go. So therefore, that contract that he signed is no longer valid, I guess you could say. In that, or that part of the contract's not valid about having to go to arbitration instead. But that one judge got outvoted by 2 other judges. But I think it's something that one judge made it clear they were opposed to the decision, did not agree with the decision that was made.
Yeah, this is one of the cases where people say that Goodell, this is why no one likes Goodell, because it's kind of like he can just make up his rules as he go. One video I saw where they said that Goodell, who is the defendant in this case, now becomes the judge because he's the one that's on the panel, on the NFL panel, that decides the punishment. When this happened with John Gruden, or the emails, when they go back, starts with when John Gruden was working with ESPN doing the Monday Night Football games. So he was not a employee of the NFL. And that's where it kind of gets, messed up, where it's like you're going back 10, 12 years to a time he wasn't an NFL employee, and you're using that against him to at the time his current position. And then now that he's no longer with the NFL and he's had this lawsuit, the NFL is still using that against him. And, it's like I don't know. It's like the NFL NFL is invincible to any lawful or anything like that. And with Roger Goodell, and, it could be a money thing because this was in the Las Vegas courts.
But the biggest thing out of all this, and this is a key thing, this is a big win for Goodell, is anything that's brought up in the arbitration, it stays in arbitration. It does not go out to the public. And what Gruden wanted was for this shit to be out to the public. He wanted everybody to see the skeletons, as he put it, in the NFL closet. And now it can't, because now the NFL's got control. He could bring up all this shit. He could even win arbitration. But the biggest thing that he wanted, it does not get out there to the rest of us to show us basically what the NFL, as his words are, the skeletons in the closet, how the NFL covers everything up and does what they want.
Yeah. And, they said that this wasn't about money. This wasn't about John Gruden trying to get an X amount of money from the NFL. This is about him. John Gruden's whole thing was exposing the NFL and the wrongful things they do, especially when it comes to stuff like this, where Goodell could be the judge, jury, and executioner on whatever happens, on disciplinary wise. So this is what Gruden wanted to do. As of right now, it looks like he might have lost that battle. They will appeal it, but as of now, it looks like the NFL and Goodell have won, have beat Gruden's claims. Al Davis would have took him to the.
Al Davis would have leaked his own shit.
Yeah.
Al Davis would have been like, "All right, I can't get it out to the public, Here, whisper, whisper, whisper. All of a sudden, Ian Rappaport has fucking all this information on the NFL.
Yeah. So, do you think Gruden will have another job in the NFL after all this?
I think possibly. I mean, once this is all over, this ain't stopping that aspect of it. They wanted him out for whatever reason, but is it going to be a head coaching job? I don't know. Once this is all said and done, I mean, this is starting to kind of turn into the what is it, Al Davis Roselle fight? Now it's the Gruden and Goodell fight.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think they could technically stop him. I don't think there's anything that he would have to be let go. Things go. You probably have to say, oh, you got to take sensitivity this, you got to do this, whatever. But I think there's a possibility, but he'll be more like a quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, some shit like that. I don't know if he'd want to deal with the headaches of being a head coach and the scrutiny again.
Well,
I'm putting this way. If Sean Payton could get a job after Bountygate, why couldn't Gruden get his job back?
Well, Sean Payton didn't go and take Goodell to court, and Sean Payton had Bountygate where him and where Greg Williams were targeting players for money, is what allegedly, but injuring players on the opposite side for money allegedly. But I don't know. It was rumored that Kirk Cousins and a couple guys went down there to meet with John Gruden, to practice with him or whatever. So John Gruden still wants to be in the NFL. John Gruden still wants to be on the NFL sideline. He's going to be 60 years old, or if he's not 60 years old already. So, I mean, we'll see. Him being a head coach, I think, might be a slim chance. But him being a coordinator, at least, I think there's a better chance of that. All right. So, everybody was waiting for this.
He is 60 years old.
He's 60 years old. There you go. And in his first stint with the Raiders, he was working under Al Davis. He should have took some pointers on how to sue the NFL. There should have been a book that Al Davis wrote.
Put it like this, you got to remember, Al Davis took the NFL to court numerous times. They never forced him out of ownership, but yet they forced Dan Snyder out of ownership. They forced other people. So there was opportunities. There's opportunities for things. But I agree. Take notes because Al Davis won his fights.
Yeah, but Dan Snyder, the people inside the building were saying that it was a hostile environment and everything that happened with the cheerleaders and all that. So I can see why Snyder got forced out. But anyways, everyone was waiting for it. It was supposed to come out last week, but here we go. This week, the schedule is finally out. We finally know who we're going to start the season with and who we're going to end the season with, and it happens to be the same team, the Chargers. Everybody else in the middle.
We did that last year with the Broncos.
Exactly. Come on, NFL. Can you have some imagination, please?
Right? Have an original thought.
Yeah, come on, man. So, what do you think it is? We start off the season versus Jim Harbaugh and Herbert. And then we go on the road, which is really a home game at SoFi, Raider home game, which we haven't won.
At home.
We haven't won against the Chargers in SoFi in a couple years. So, not saying that's a tough matchup right off the bat, but I mean, we can make some noise.
We kind of split those games with the Chargers. Here's a chance for us to come out, start strong, and possibly sweep them this year.
I think we would do it.
We're ending at home. So we're at home and then at home.
At home and at home. No. Oh yeah, at home. LA and Las Vegas.
Yeah.
All right. So
you know what? We own LA. I don't care what anybody says. We own LA.
We own LA. After we leave LA, we go against the Ravens and facing against Lamar Jackson. We did beat him a couple years ago on that Monday night game, that Monday night opener, first game with the fans. I was at that game.
That was first game of the season, wasn't it?
First game of the season, Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday night opener.
Monday night, yeah.
But they just came off of a AFC Championship loss to the Chiefs. So, I mean, right off the bat, we're going against Herbert and then Lamar Jackson, and that's at Baltimore. I don't know if this is the same Raiders because, you know, one of our Achilles heels has been going to the East Coast on a 10 o'clock game. Do you think that the 10 o'clock game is going to be a factor this year under AP going against was he the MVP, Lamar Jackson?
Oh, shit. I think so. I think I could look. I mean, I think it's early enough in the season that, you know, it might not. I think AP's got them going pretty good. So I think this is one of the better times. Yes, it was Lamar Jackson. So I think this is one of the better times to go and get that early game. You know, because everybody, even Baltimore is still going to be in that trying to figure themselves out. Everyone's got new players, all this other stuff. I mean, we just got to contain Lamar Jackson. So that's going to be, the key thing there. So if we could just contain Lamar Jackson, I don't think that 10 a.m. start time will be as bad. And it all depends on how early they decide to go out. Because if they decide to go out right after week 1, straight out there and be able to practice out there and go, then it's not going to be that much of an issue. Because usually when they do that, they wait till the last minute, travel, and then you're dealing with the time change and all that other bullshit.
Yeah. I'm trying to read. I was trying to find the rankings, but going into Baltimore, I mean, it could be a tough matchup going against the MVP of last year's season, Lamar Jackson.
It's going to be tough. If we get that win, it's going to be a tough win. It's going to be a fight. Can't take that away.
So okay, so wait, let's take this. Let's write this down right now. Let's write this down. I have no paper. You have the Charger game, week 1, win or loss?
Harbaugh's getting everything going. Herbert under a new system, all that shit. I say we can win that.
I say win. Both say win. Okay. I can't find my notebooks. Going into week 2, Baltimore, win or loss?
Oh, that one's tough. I mean, that's going to be a good test for our defense. And go. I say it's going to be a close game. I think it can go either way, but I'll be realistic and say probably a loss. Be 1-1.
What do you think would be? Do you think it'll be Lamar Jackson beating the Raiders, or do you think if you're saying that that there's a possibility that the Ravens could win that game, is it because of Lamar Jackson and his skills, or did the Raiders beat the Raiders? Because everyone's focusing on the offense.
I think it's Lamar Jackson in the run game. Not just Lamar Jackson running, but they got a solid run game. And didn't they get Henry's?
Yes.
I want to say they got, let's see, hold on.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah. Where is it? Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? Come on. Let's see. Coming up.
Yes, he is.
So, I mean, yeah, I think that run game with Lamar Jackson, containing Lamar Jackson, having King Henry, plus I believe they have Gus Edwards. I mean, it's going to be a tough test for that defensive line and being able to stop the run. But I'm not saying we can't do it, and I think we can. If we could do that, we could squeak out that win.
I say, away at the Ravens. They will be up for this game because they know that they're probably going to be, the underdogs in this game. The Raiders are. But I say they surprise the world and they go 2-0. They beat the Ravens on this one. Close game like they did at Monday night a couple years ago. Different quarterback, though. But I say the Raiders start 2-0. Now, they come home September 22nd. They come on week 3 to face the Carolina Panthers with their second year quarterback. That guy, Bryce Young. Because I always get it mixed up with Richardson. But because they both got hurt. So they come back. I still think that the Panthers are still in a rebuilding mode. So I say the Raiders take care of the Panthers at home in the home opener. Hopefully on that game, Raider Man's doing the oath at the torch. We got to make sure we push that too. But I say they go 3-0 because I am a Raider fan. And like the O says, I am a Raider fan. So I'm going to say they start off 3-0.
I got 2-1.
You saying we get that win?
I said we get that win. I mean, they were a 1-win team last year. I mean, so what are they going to do? Upgrade to maybe 5 wins this year? Possibly. And it ain't going to be against us.
Yeah, I say that with that,
our defense is going to be solid enough to be able to shut down that offense handedly.
Yes, it's just all about scoring on offense, which we'll see going into preseason how we're going to look with the Getsy offense. But I say we go 3-0. I'm saying 3-0. You got 2-1 with the loss to the Ravens. Going to the Browns, we are home again at the Browns. I'm sorry, we're home again facing the Browns. Browns were a good team last year. I believe they were 10-7. I had them down. They were, I believe, 10-7 last year. Let me get my NFL standings. The Browns were 11-6. 11-6 last year. Second place behind the Ravens. They were a good team. I want to say they're a surprise team, but they do have quarterback issues with Watson, who couldn't stay on the field. They did have, old man. What was his name again?
Who?
Flacco, who basically saved their season, took them to the playoffs. He is now with the Colts. But the Browns come in and spoil the party of the opener on the 22nd in week 3.
That's not the opener.
I'm sorry. The home opener after. Okay, no, the second game at home. Do the Browns come in and take care of business, or do the Raiders defend this house at Allegiant Stadium?
I mean, that's tough. Fuck. I don't know. That one's tough.
Anna says, trap game.
Trap game? Yeah, possibly. I'm gonna put this one as a loss.
Yeah, I'll say
they got a good defense. They're strong, and it's going to be a good test for whoever the starting quarterback's going to be, and the offensive weapons. This one, I think it's going to be a close loss. Field goal wins the game.
Field goal wins the game. I would say, I'll say trap game. If there was a game that they lose, it'll be this one right here. 3-1 I have. You have 2-2. We're going to Mile High Stadium, where we have an 8-game winning streak against the Broncos, who, as we know, might be starting Bo Nix. Could be Stidham. Could be anybody else. I don't know. Because
I'm willing to put money down now. And put the money down for me. I'll Venmo you the money or whatever. That Bo Nix starts for the Broncos.
Bo Nix starts for the Broncos in our second divisional game in Denver, up there in the Mile High City. The Broncos were 8-9, same record as us, but we owned them because we swept them for the last 4 years. Do we continue our streak against the Broncos with this one?
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes. I feel like the whole organization is just.
I mean, they're dealing with quarterback woes, shit like that. I know they got Surtain, but I don't think who do they really have on offense as far as weapons and everything else. I think this is, it's not going to be a close game like when we beat them the first time in Mile High last year. Week 1. I think this one should be a handed. Defense steps up, does their job. Offense has a chance to, by this time they should hopefully be clicking. And definitely putting up more than 20 fucking points.
I think Stidham is going to be the quarterback in this game because Stidham is the veteran. Unless Bo Nix really shows out in preseason, I feel like Stidham will be the quarterback for now. Not for the future, but like for now in this game. But the Raiders take care of business in Mile High because I feel like Bronco fans are all like, I thought we went through this 10 years ago from a guy named McDaniels. Ship away the quarterback, guy on the sideline who thinks he's all that, thinks it's don't stink. So I feel like they're going through that whole thing. I'm not going to say that Sean Payton gets fired mid-season like McDaniels did, but I feel like Bronco fans are all like, wait, I think I've seen this before. Anyways, I say the Raiders win. They are 4-1, and now they host the 1970s rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers beat us last year.
Yes, they did. In a close game, if I remember correctly.
It was a close game. It would have won the game because, but, Marcus Peters dropped that easy ball and could have ran it in for a pick 6. But anyways, that's old news. He's no longer on the team. Raiders host the Steelers Sunday afternoon. There we go. In Vegas. It could be either their quarterback could either be Fields or it could be Russell Wilson.
I think it's going to be
chip
Wilson
on his shoulder.
I think it's going to be Wilson just because he's the veteran. In that one. I mean, I know they're paying him very little money, but I think he's got that chip on his shoulder and everything, and they're going to be going with Wilson on this one. But I think we played Wilson. We know Wilson. And I think we pull out the W on this one.
I say this one will be close. But I don't know.
You think Wilson?
You think Fields can't beat Russell Wilson in camp?
I think Wilson I think Wilson with that chip on his shoulder. I think Wilson starts this game. I think Wilson has been playing by now.
I would say Wilson puts up numbers, but I want to say Raiders edge it out, but I feel like because the Raiders passed on Wilson too on this offseason because they were talking about Wilson to the Raiders, I say this is a close loss. We are now 4-2. 4-2. You are now...
Oh, you're saying loss?
I say loss. I say close loss. Because it's the Steelers. Even though they fired, they fired the offensive coordinator last year. They got 2 new quarterbacks. They don't have Pickett anymore.
Nope.
So you have 2 guys, Russell Wilson with the experience, and he still has some leg left, to run around. And you have Justin Fields, who probably wants to prove to everybody that he's not a bust. And that, he still has skills. But whoever's the quarterback, I feel like they edge it out. The Steelers take that win. I don't want to say that, but I feel like it's close.
Hey, we got to be realistic. Trust me, before everything started, we always say we're going 17-0.
All the time, 17-0. Let's go. All right. The Raiders go back to their home stadium in L.A., SoFi Stadium, and they go against the LA Rams, who no longer have Aaron Donald because he had retired this past 2 months ago. So the Raiders play the Rams in LA.
going against Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford, though, an older Matthew Stafford, a beat up Matthew Stafford.
A Super Bowl winning Matthew Stafford.
So yeah, but I mean, he had the shoulder issues. I'd say with Aaron Donald no longer in the league, the Raiders take this one, and I say I'm gonna put it on record. The Raiders handily take care of this one. They destroy the Rams in LA to let them know this is our city first. We won the Super Bowl for this city first. I feel like the Raiders take this one handily. They destroy the Rams and maybe send Stafford to an early retirement. Oh,
I say this is a close win. I think we win by a field goal. I think we pull it out just because it's at home. Like you said, with everything going, they don't have Donald to destroy, to disrupt games. And but they do have weapons, and I think this one, not necessarily a shootout, but I think we win it by a field goal.
Yeah, I remember last year when Baker Mayfield. No, was it last year too? No, 2 years ago. Was it last year? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years. It's last year was such craziness. Baker Mayfield came off the flight and just beat the Raiders in backyard football. I feel like that does not happen this time because McDaniels is not on the sideline. AP will get in their asses, and the Raiders will take care of business. I say handily a victory. Are you writing this down? Because I had no paper.
I'm writing it down. Yes.
All right, this one right here. This should be a primetime game, but October 27th, a few games before Halloween.
Few days, not games.
I'm sorry, a few days before Halloween. It's been a long week for me.
Hey, take that medication I saw you take beforehand. I know.
I had Dayquil and NyQuil. I'm trying to see which one wins. Going to look like Forrest Whitaker. All right. The Chiefs come to Allegiant Stadium. The last time the Chiefs were at Allegiant Stadium, we all know they won a Super Bowl, but the last team to beat the Chiefs was the Raiders in their home stadium that they might not have anymore because, they could be going to Dallas. But we still need to beat the Chiefs at home. We haven't beat the Chiefs in our new stadium, and they keep trying to call it Arrowhead West and all this whatever. So this is a big game for Raider fans, of course, no matter because it's the Chiefs, but it's a big game because we need to come out there, make a statement that we're not going to be pushed around by the Chiefs on our own field anymore. I say, because Max Crosby won't have a bum knee, he's fully healthy, and with Wilkins in the middle, I say the Raiders beat the Chiefs.
We break the curse.
Taylor Swift ends up leaving Kelsey for Bowers. Oh, Bowers!
We thought it was going to happen with Jimmy G, remember?
We thought it was going to happen. Well, Jimmy G was supposed to go up there in the Super Bowl and distract, but whatever. But I say the Raiders take care of business with the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs handily. I'm going to say they destroy the Chiefs because we're going to have better offense. We're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes, but the Raiders have to make a statement. We have a better defense. We have push in the middle with Wilkins and with Wilson, with that bull rush, 1 full year under his belt and not injured in this off season. Kuntz coming on the other side. I say that the Raiders take care of business at home against the Chiefs. They're both going to be fired up for this game, but the Raiders take care of business. Raiders only have 2 losses in my schedule. Take care of business. Your thoughts, Asylum, since you have to live over there.
I think we break the curse. I think we win this game. We finally beat them at home. Like you said, Wilson, they showed him hitting the bags. He laid out and just sandwiched the shit out of one of the tackling dummies, and going, and you see his foot's not bothering him. We got Wilkinson, we got Crosby, and we already know how Mahomes handles the shit talking from Crosby. How's he going to handle it from Crosby and Wilkinson? Wilkins. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wilkins. All right, handle it from Wilkins. He's going to sit there and not be happy. He's going to be crying at the refs left and fucking right. We got people. We might be able to shut down Kelsey. We're not going to let Kelsey beat us. This is that game. Yeah, no, I got this one as a W too.
I love it. We're gonna take care of business. I'm excited for this season. I didn't feel like this last year because you know what happened, but there's new life. Old school Raiders, the Raider way. Yes, the mystique. And you know, everyone, they're looking at AP, the head coach, as a guy that's.
We have Mahomes rules. Don't forget we got the Mahomes rules.
You know, they're looking at AP. You have no experience. We have Andy Reid, three-time Super Bowl winner. You have Peyton Manning, who's won a Super Bowl with the Saints, who can't do nothing, and Harbaugh, who came back from college to go with the Chargers, and AP is the one that doesn't have that much experience. But you know, it's not about experience.
They're going to overlook him. They're going to overlook him. They thought he was going to get outcoached in Kansas City, and he went into Kansas City and outcoached Andy Reid.
Yes. So I say, you know, AP knows that I feel like they're gunning for him because they want to basically introduce him to the coaching, you know, head coaching in the NFL. But I feel like AP will be ready because he knows they're out there.
I think AP wants this game. He wants that first win at home against the Chiefs. He wants it, you know, he wants it, you know, more than he, you know, loves his kids right now.
There you go. All right. Raiders travel to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. Now, Joe Burrow last year was injured early on, so he didn't play as much, of course. So the Bengals slid, but they even started slow with Burrows too last season. They finished the season 9-8 with their backup. I forgot his name, but Burrow most likely will be the starter. He should be fully healthy. At the Bengals, do the Raiders take care of business at the Bengals November 3rd?
I feel another phantom whistle coming, you know, and everything. And I think, you know, here the win streak ends on my end and they come out. It's another early game. And I think they come out with the loss here.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's a trap game, but if they can sustain when they kill the Chiefs the week before, if they can sustain that same energy and momentum and take it to the to Cincinnati, they can win. Because I felt the same way with the Chargers last year. I said, oh well, this Chiefs game right out there could be, you know, if AP can get their emotions maintained and carry that to the next, which they did, and they beat the Chiefs on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Day.
It was Christmas Day. But I say, Christmas Day, yeah. But I say this could be a loss. I don't want to say it, but I say the Raiders might lose this one to the Bengals. It'll be, I would say it'll be a touchdown loss. Like it's close, but they lose by a touchdown. I'd say that's how that goes on that game right there. So we both got losses on that one.
We both got losses on that one. I say we win week 10.
I know we can't lose in week 10. This is better.
I actually like where this bye comes. It's right in the middle of the season.
Yes.
It's perfect. You get your 9 games, you get a bye to rest, and then you go back into the rest of the season and do 9 more. I like the location of this bye.
Yeah. I like the bye there. Yeah, because last year was on week 13. You already went through most of the season. The Raiders went through a lot of changes last year. We all know this. But Raiders come out. Raiders get healthy then, but then they come out the following week and they go back to Miami again and they face the Dolphins, who last year were 11-6. They got deep in the playoffs, but couldn't beat the Chiefs in that snowy game, that cold game. But
that was a cold ass game. That was colder than the game I was at.
yes, and yes, because there's still some people I seen in the news that they were still dealing with frostbite and all of that coming from a game 4 months previous. So Wilkins goes back to Miami, faces his old team. Do the Raiders, because that was a close game last year. It was a close game last year.
We barely lost that game last year too.
Yes.
So
what do you think?
I think we get the revenge game for Wilkins and last year, and I think we pull out the W on this one. We got to Tua. We forced turnovers. I think it's going to be a repeat. Not to mention we got Wilkins that can give us maybe some little insiders to put us over the edge, and I think we win this one by a touchdown.
I say with the pressure up the middle, we're going to see some turnovers by Tua because we got some pressure on him last year, and he had a couple fumbles, a couple interceptions.
A couple fumbles and an interception, I believe.
Yes, so I say the Raiders come out the bye, and they take care of business at Miami. What am I right now? What's my record right now?
You got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 wins and 3 losses.
7-3, baby. First place. After that, I say this could be a trap game at home versus the Broncos because we have a long streak. Right now, currently, we're going to say 9 games in a row. Going for number 10.
Going for number 10, but I say we continue. I say we continue that streak. I don't think we're losing the streak this year. I feel you on the trap game part, but with their situation, it might be a different quarterback at this time. It might be Bo Nix if your Stidham starts. It might be Stidham because Bo Nix got hurt or something, or he's not, playing well. I don't think they're going to be the team, that we're faced in week 5. And I think we come out with this W.
I was going to say, I feel like, because I said Stidham's going to start the season, but I feel like going into this one, Bo Nix goes in because the Broncos are probably going to be like 2 wins in the season. I say at home, it's a close game, but the Raiders take care of business. They go 8 and whatever I said, 8 wins for me.
8-3.
So now the Chiefs again. Now we both said we'll beat them at home, but now it's a Friday game right after Thanksgiving. NFL trying to find new ways to make money, so we're gonna have a Friday game because forget high school kids, it's NFL time because high school plays on Friday. If anybody didn't get that, anyways. Raiders at Chiefs, of course, and also it's gonna be. They always play the Chiefs in the cold weather late in the season.
Always. In November, though, it's not quite as bad as in December. It's cold, but we're not quite in the negative degrees yet. So it could be, 10, 15, 20, but I don't think it's going to be that cold. But I think in this one here, this is their revenge game at home. For that Christmas Day loss right after Thanksgiving. And, it is the Chiefs, and I'm going to have to give them the win on this one.
I'm going to shock the world and say they sweep the Chiefs. Because I'm going on pure emotion, and I'm going to say we sweep the Chiefs on this one. The Raiders finally got the Chiefs number because they figured out how to beat Mahomes and Travis Kelce crying all over the field. Raiders sweep the Chiefs. Take it or leave it. I'm saying right then and there, we win this game. Thank you very much. Going into the next week, Raiders travel to Florida, to Tampa Bay, to face the Buccaneers. Now, the Buccaneers just gave
and Baker Mayfield
and his $100 contract the $100 million contract. They were 9-8 last year, but they were first. They were the first place in the NFC South. What do you think on this game right here?
I think this is being Baker. They got a good team. They kept their wide receiver. I think this is an early game again. I think this is one of those ones where, we get our back-to-back losses for the first time of the season.
Back-to-back losses for the first time. Yeah, I say, Baker doing that backyard stuff. I say that, that could be a loss for the Raiders right there. We haven't even had any where's the primetime games at? Oh, we're coming up on the primetime games.
Well, technically, the November 29th is a primetime game.
12 p.m.
That's a Friday. Black Friday. Trust me, I love for the Raiders to win it on Black Friday, just because that's our color and everything. But like I said, I think this is the first time, that we get it, and the first real test, of how the team's going to bounce, how the team can bounce back, with back-to-back losses. It's really going to, at this time of the season, show why we went to Costa Mesa and brought the team together. All the closeness, coming off back-to-back losses, going into Atlanta.
Going into Atlanta. Now, the last time we went to Atlanta, it wasn't a good game. We got beat handedly. That was with was 2020 season. Yeah. And it was around Thanksgiving too. But we're going to Atlanta. They have, who was their quarterback?
Kirk Cousins.
Oh, Kirk Cousins. I was going to say,
or
it was going to be Michael Penix, the guy that we were supposed to get.
No, I don't think he's playing right now. I think obviously this is going to be, unless he's hurt, of course. This is obviously Kirk Cousins' team, right, for this year.
They can let him go, and they already paid him that all that money. Most of it's guaranteed, so he already got it for this year. They front loaded him, but December 16th, special date for me. But they go
special date.
Yeah, it's my grandma's birthday. So they go face the Falcons at home. I feel like the Raiders, they might be facing. I'm going to say they're going to face Michael Penix in this one. And this is going to be one of those games that everyone's going to be looking at, saying, did we? I mean, not that we had a chance because he was taken off the board before we can get him, but everyone kept saying they need to trade up and get him. But this is going to be one of those games that Michael Penix is starting. If he's playing, Raider fans are going to keep an eye out on this one to see how he looks in an NFL, NFL offense. So, but I say Raiders take care of business on this one.
I think we win this one. I think like I said, we come back, bounce back. I got back-to-back losses, so I think this is the one we come back. I mean, Atlanta is trying to rebuild, and yes, they got Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix, whoever's starting at the time, but I think they're still in that rebuild. And I don't think it's not going to be a repeat of that 2020 season.
Yes. Right after that, we stay at home and we play, and we go against the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars last year were at 9-8. So I say this one could be a loss. Going against Trevor Lawrence.
Well, not just Trevor Lawrence. They got a good defense and everything too. And last year they lost a few games that they probably should have won. And I agree with you on that one. I think that one's a loss as well.
Yeah. Now here's the one, and they wait till at the end of the season.
Of course they did.
Everyone has been looking at since they, told us who we're going to face against our opponents. We go and travel to New Orleans, which Raider Nation is setting up a whole. They're going to be traveling over there to New Orleans for that game. They're going to face.
Jack actually is partnered with a group. I forget what it was called. I could look real quick. God damn it. To help Blackout. They get it's a nice company. They basically you pay them. They get your flight, your transportation from the airport, hotel. Everything's all taken care of. A tailgate a Raiders alumni meeting, a dinner the night before, and tickets into the game all in one package. Just want to put that out there.
Just want to put that out there. But why are we picking the New Orleans Saints? Because a former quarterback that we had for 9 years, we're going against him. Derek Carr,
if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy, or if they do whatever, bench him or whatever. But the Raiders go against Derek Carr, revenge game for Derek Carr. This is going to be a big game if Derek Carr is a starting quarterback at that time. A big game for him, a big game for us. That's one of those games that we cannot lose to, because that'll start the whole Carr debate all over again. And I'm kind of getting tired of talking about the what ifs, because we're in the new era. But that's a big game right then and there. Do we take care of business in New Orleans Asylum?
Oh, I think we get that W. I think we get it. I think last year we were probably equal with them, and with the moves we made, I think we're better than them now. And I think this is a W. Get us back on track.
They say that the Saints basically had our draft card, and we're drafting the players we were supposed to have. But I say, yeah, we take care of business.
Travel. That's what it's called. TrueFanTravel.com if you want to go help black out that particular game in Louisiana.
We will see if I can afford it.
Now that the schedule come out, they will have prices. You can put a deposit down now, but they will have prices for the total thing. And I got to see, because like I said, in November, I'm in New York, and coming down a month later to be in New Orleans. I'd love to go 2 days before the new year. We're going to start the new year with we're going to end the year with a bang.
With a bang. The Saints last year were 9-8, but I said the Raiders take care of business. And they close out the year with, whenever the game is, the Chargers. Will this have the same playoff implication as it did in 2021? Do we take care of business and finally sweep the Chargers at home? What do you think, Asylum?
Oh, yeah. No, I think this is the year. I know we talked about earlier how we usually split it, but this is at home. This might be for a playoff spot, kind of depending on how things go. And I think we, last time it was for a playoff spot, what ended up happening was, they pissed us off. And if it was we lost, they go in. If we tie, we both go in. They did something we lost to piss us off, and we fucking jammed that ball down their throat and took the W. And I don't think we're going to give them that chance.
So in my schedule, I say we sweep the whole AFC West like we did in, I believe it was 2010, the last time we did so. But we're not going to finish 8-8. What is my schedule? What is my my record right now? I say we take this win.
12-5.
12-5, baby. 12-5. We take the West back. Chiefs probably wild card. That's what I say.
11-6.
11-6. There we go, right there and there. Now, of course, it's all about who's going to be our quarterback. Who is going to be the guy that's going to be throwing against the guys in the schedule? We're going to talk about that quarterback battle right now with this video introducing that quarterback battle. Yeah, there you go. Play it.
Hold on. Okay, let me get. Oh.
I'm excited. I mean, what Aidan did the last 4 games, and what he's done this offseason, changing his body, his work ethic, being here every day, blocking out the outside noise, not worried about anything. I'm excited. And then you bring Gardner in here, and then listen, you talk about personality. I know you guys interviewed him. It's great. It's great for our building. It's great for our quarterback room. And if you got competition in the quarterback room, what does every other room look at? Looking at those two guys.
That's the plan is, we have both those guys really compete through the offseason program, but more so in training camp. And we'll see how it plays out. I thought Aidan did an excellent job last year in a really difficult situation where, the head coach changed, the coordinator changed, and he played really good football down the stretch. I've had a chance to be around him a little bit more here in the building, and you kind of see the quarterback intangibles that are there, which is nice to have, which you have to have as a franchise quarterback. And then with Gardner, Gardner played well last year with the Colts. He was in the Pro Bowl, so obviously he had a pretty good year. and he's always performed at a high level when he's given that opportunity. So to have both those guys here competing for the job, we'll see where it goes.
Especially at this level, there's going to be competition. I mean, it's the best of the best, and so the coaches and the administration want to bring in the best players possible to try to make the team better. And the best guys are going to play, and so it's nothing new in terms of the competition. It's been, even since high school, has been what I've been dealing with and working through, and so that's just part of the game. It's not unique to any one position. It's how it is at every position. Obviously, only one quarterback plays, but it's part of it. It'd be more foreign to me being the unquestioned starter rather than competing.
I'm always looking for opportunities to compete, man, and this is a great one here. Excited to get in and compete with a team that I feel like has a chance to be really good. Played them at the end of the year last year. Shoot, man, I just try to bring it every day. I just try to set the tone with how I work, and set the tone with the energy that I bring. I think that's the way you got to lead. You got to lead from the front. And I wouldn't ask anybody to do anything I wouldn't be willing to do myself. It's going to be competitive. I think they're going to try to put together the best quarterback room they can. There's no promises being made. I don't want any guarantees. I just want a chance, and I'm excited for the chance I have here.
We saw them play against each other last year. They went neck to neck, but I'm really excited to see what happens. I think it's going to be a process. We're going to stick to the process. But as I said before, Aidan's earned the right to go out there and get the first snap.
All right, you heard it right there from the coach. Aidan earned the right to get the first snap. But, of course, here's the stats right here. Anyways, but we bring in somebody that we had a debate with a couple of weeks ago, or about a month or so, on El Capitan's. What?
It was about a month ago.
A month ago on El Capitan show. We welcome Afakazi Raider. Let me take this down. Take this down.
It's all good, gang.
There you go. Let's put you in here. And then we move it over here. And then there you go right there. And we got the there we go.
What's good, Savage? As Asylum, everyone in the chat. I see you, Rick, Anna, and my guy on 6. How are we, gentlemen?
Good morning to you. I know you're just waking up not that long ago and everything, so we appreciate you spending your morning with us in the future.
Appreciate you having me.
In the future. So since you are living in the future,
he already knows you are last night.
Since you are living in the future, what do you see? Who do you see is going to be, in your opinion, the winner of this slinging of the stashes, the stash for the cash? I'm trying to think of anything else I can say because everyone else took the whole battle of the mustaches, whatever, Farva
and the Farva versus Uncle Rico.
Now, as you see, Aidan O'Connell, 6'3", 210 pounds, 25 years old, out of Purdue, round 4 pick in 2023, second season last year. Oh my God. Last year, he was thrown in the fire with the makeshift offense, but he did put up some numbers. Then going against Gardner Minshew, 6'1", 225 pounds, 27 years old, out of Washington State and other colleges he played for. Round 6 pick in 2019 with the Jaguars. In his 6th season, who do you think can be quarterback 1 at the beginning of the season?
I got to be honest. I look at all those stats and that you've got on the tail of the tape. For me, those don't really mean too much to me personally. I will say, with Aidan O'Connell, he was brought in last year. We drafted him last year under the old regime. He wasn't supposed to start. He was supposed to sit for the year. He was supposed to be a developmental guy. We had to push him in due to circumstance. We all know what happened last season. And due to said circumstances, I think he did reasonably well, with all things considered. Did he light the house on fire? To me personally, not really, but he did enough to win some games. And, I'm at least pleased for the most part with what he showed. But then you look at Gardner Minshew, a guy who's been in the league. How long has it been? 4 years? 5 years?
This will be his 6th season. He's completed 5 seasons.
6 seasons. So he's bounced around a few teams. He's had his chances to start, and he's done much like Aidan O'Connell. He's done reasonably well. I mean, from my knowledge, he made the Pro Bowl last season. He's a guy who seems to me like he's good enough, but teams don't see him as good enough to ride into the future with, which is why we have taken a chance on him. And he was available in free agency. So the way I see it, like Antonio Pierce says, it's O'Connell has earned the right to throw the first. What did he say? O'Connell's earned the right
we
to...
actually do. Where is that? God damn it! Oh, did you not put it up, Savage?
Which one?
The AP's statement.
I was watching the video.
He said that he earns the right to.
He's earned the right to the right to take the
first
snaps.
Yeah,
right. I honestly, like, in regards to that comment, I truly believe like preseason is going to tell the story. I mean, he can say that now, but like, if Gardner Minshew outperforms him in preseason, I think it would be a silly move to ride with O'Connell to be the starter. So the way I see it is, look, I'm going to get behind both guys. You know, I mean, they're Raiders. They're our quarterbacks for the moment. I just hope whoever wins the job is going to be good enough for the long term. You know what I mean? Not just good for a minute kind of guys. Because, like, we've had guys like this in the past where they've been good. They've been all right for a little while, but they're not the long-term answer. And I'm just hoping that whoever wins the job is going to be that long-term answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, be the guy that we're sure that, okay, this is the guy we're going to build around for the future, not just for a little while. So whoever it may be, first step is to earn the job, and then the next job is to prove to be the guy for the long run. And I'm hoping one of these two cats can do that.
Well, and I'll take that a little further with the AP comments. He did say that part of the reason was his play last season, you know, towards the end of the season, but also what he's seen during the offseason, the bounds and leaps that he's made during the offseason. He's in there every day. Everything else like that has earned him. But I do believe off of this, it's going to be a true quarterback battle. I do agree with preseason is going to tell us everything. I think they're going to be splitting games. It's going to go, and it's going to be a true battle, and both of them want the job. And Minshew even said, no promises were given to anybody. He wanted a place where he can come and battle for that starting job, and he came to the Raiders because he feels this was the place that's going to give him the true battle. If he doesn't win it, he's willing to step back, be in that backup role, and do his job. But even Matt Marinovich, I got into a discussion with him on Captain's Show. What was it? On Monday, I think it was. And, going and, yes, could Aidan O'Connell benefit from sitting behind Minshew if Minshew wins it? I do think he can. I think this is going to be a true battle. And I think Minshew's going to help one way or the other. He's either going to sit back in the backup position and help O'Connell any way he can, be a true team player, or if he wins it, it will also help O'Connell because he gets to sit back and watch what he needs to learn, like he should have done last year, and get it from a quarterback who's similar in styles as him.
Right, absolutely. And I agree with that. Like, if O'Connell needs to sit, I mean, he was a rookie last year, so it's only his sophomore year. You know, he's still learning the game at the elite level. I mean, you know, he played quite well, earning the job as a walk-on from Purdue. It's like I said, like I just want one of these two guys to prove to be the long-term answer. And like with O'Connell, like what would be good to see would be, do you remember, look, I hate to talk about our former quarterback, but Derek Carr, do you remember his sophomore leap in his second year? Remember there were circumstances behind his struggles, but he did okay enough in his rookie season. But come his sophomore year, he showed vast improvements. And then by year 3, remember that was the year where he had that MVP season in 2016.
Oh yeah, but there was also the year that he broke his leg, and
it was unfortunately. But
everything came
years, you remember
for him then. I mean, yeah, right, he had the MVP, and yeah, he made those big leaps and bounds, like you said, and everything was looking great. I mean, we were winning games that nobody thought we were supposed to be winning at that time and everything. And then, of course, Jack Del Rio kept him in that game, that Colts game, longer than he needed to. 2 games left in the season. And shit ended up going south. And and I'll be honest, it affected Carr for a few years after that too.
Right. But I only brought that up just being that like that for me is kind of the blueprint, hopefully, for what O'Connell can do. Because I mean, remember, it's to my point, his sophomore year is where it started. Because Carr started to play quite well his second year, and I'm hoping that maybe O'Connell can take that second year leap now that he's had a year under his belt in the NFL. And like I say this with all rookies, and I'm going to put quarterbacks into this category as well. Like I give 2 years of concessions for guys who are drafted by a team, as long as you're showing progression and as long as you're showing that you're trending upwards, you're getting better. You know what I mean? Year 3 is when.
And O'Connell showed that at the end of the season, though. At the end of the season, O'Connell was showing things were going, given everything that was handed to him, the whole playbook situation, being thrown into the fire. What was it? The last 4 games, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was, being smart with the ball. The last 5 games, it was 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He showed, the big question was, can he protect the ball? That first Chargers game that he was thrown into everything, everyone says, because he had all those fumbles and everything, that was not his best outing and not his fault. That was the coaching's fault on that one.
Right.
But it shook his confidence. He shook it off. It took him a little time to shake it off once he got the starting job. But in the end, we started to see things out of him that we wanted to see, like you said, which was the progression. And from what I'm hearing from the coach, and that's all we got right now is what AP is saying, in this offseason, he seems to be making more progressions and doing what he needs to do to fix what he knows or what he's seen as his faults and work towards it. We're not going to see it till preseason, like you said. And having somebody like Minshew who can, everyone always said, we'll go back to your Carr statement. Everyone always said they like to bring in so-and-so, whoever, to light that fire under Carr's ass because that's what he needed there towards the end. I think we're doing it now with Minshew, and that's that fire of, yes, I may have the starting snaps as of right now. O'Connell knows it's his job to lose, and he knows it's not going to be a situation where, okay, I just got to barely play better than the other guy. He has to outplay Minshew, who has some strengths that he doesn't have, but then O'Connell has strengths that Minshew doesn't have. So it's going to be a balance of things, and who can, in the end, like you said, show that they can be that long-term quarterback.
Right. That's what I want ideally. And with Minshew, like what I see with him, and I've made this comparison before, I don't know if you heard me say it, but he gives me Bruce Gradkowski vibes. You know what I mean? He may not have the arm talent, the IQ, and he might not be the most heralded kind of guy, which is why he's bounced around the league for a little bit. But he's proved that, like, when he's given his chance, he can play. And what he lacks in his faults department, he makes up for with this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that can take you places that all those other things may not necessarily be able to take you. And
the last 2 times he's played the Raiders, he's beaten us. He beat us in Jacksonville, our very last game in Oakland. And then obviously last year, in one hell of a battle. I mean, you're right. He has the heart, to try, but what scares me though is Carr had the heart too. Carr did everything he could to try to win games, and that's where he made the mistakes.
Right.
The reaching out to try to get touchdowns, first downs, fumbling the ball, stuff like that. Heart is great, and when you need it, it's always a great thing. A team can rally behind that. But at the same time, you got to make the smart decisions with the heart. And I do like Minshew. Minshew was my second choice out of free agent quarterbacks. My first choice was Kirk Cousins, not for $180 million. But if it was, we could have got him for a lot cheaper. I like Kirk Cousins to come in and be that stopgap, for the years down the road to get that until we can draft that quarterback that we needed. But Gardner Minshew, I mean, you watch any of our past shows, I'm on the Minshew wagon as the guy to come in and help Aidan O'Connell. I am an Aidan O'Connell guy. I think he's showing what we want out of a quarterback. And, like I said, this is the year that, like I said, the sophomore jump show that shit wasn't a fluke. He's got time with Getsy now. He's got time with the players. He's got AP, who's obviously, on his side and everything. And I think that's just everything to boost the confidence. Confidence is a big thing. It showed it with Jack Jones when he left the Patriots. His confidence was, they said in the dumps. AP went to the vets and said, you know what? Show him the love. Show him we want him in all this. And look at the difference it made with him in the Patriots versus being in a Raiders jersey.
We love Jack Jones, and he loves being a Raider, and I love.
Oh yeah, he does. And
we love him.
Well, I think that there could be enough to help when you boost that confidence. You're willing to intake that information. You don't take shit as a criticism and take it and get down. You're like, okay, this is what I got to work on. This is what I got to go. Constructive criticism was the word I was looking for.
And, the one thing that Derek Carr, and this is always the argument, the one thing that Derek Carr did not have, even as early in his career, we have now, which is a defense. So Derek Carr, one of the most comeback victories in his career, whatever, with the Raiders.
2014 for all the way up until I think 2021, it was like the most comeback victories in the NFL.
Well,
basically the defense was Khalil Mack and then everyone else. There's a couple of all right guys supporting him, but it was basically Khalil Mack showing up when it mattered, and then Derek Carr and the offense being able to finish the thing off. Anyways, go ahead.
So the quarterback, whoever it is, whether it's Aidan O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, they're not here to be the savior because we have a middle to end of the pack defense. We have a top 10 defense, maybe top 5 defense with the addition of Wilkins.
I say higher than that. I think we're top 5 now. We have a chance of being a top 3.
So, with that said, I say the quarterbacks, whoever is going to be starting, it's not going to be relied on them to get victories. All they're going to be put in there is just to manage the game. Now, Minshew is known for making plays on his feet, continuing plays when the line breaks down. I'm just trying to get to the clip again. So it's not going to be heavily put on the quarterback like it was with Derek Carr when he first came in. When he had the MVP season, he had a guy, Bill Musgrave, who the type of offense that he ran went with Carr's style. And I feel like if Jack Del Rio didn't fire him the following season, he could have build off of what he had, but they wouldn't had Todd Downing come in as the offensive coordinator. I think there was like some kind of drama with that whole thing. But Carr had different offenses, different offensive coordinators, different head coaches and all that. Not trying to, go back to the same old excuses. But if this team can just stay consistent, that the defense won a lot of games last year, if they could do the same thing this year, the quarterbacks won't have to be the ones winning the games. They would just have to be the ones controlling the games, controlling the clock, controlling the offense. And it's not like last year where we were like, we have what's his name? We had Garoppolo, and then we had the other garbage loser. Bobby Hoyer, not Brian Hoyer.
Friggin' Hoyer.
We had Brian Hoyer, and we're like, which one of these guys are going to be the ones that takes us to the promised land? We have 2 guys. We see what O'Connell can do with a makeshift offense. He had a rookie or a guy who was calling plays who never called plays before. They were trying to put and build and add more plays into it because half of McDaniel's playbook got thrown out. Even McDaniels couldn't call a good game. And then you have Minshew, who's been around the league, seen different kind of offenses, who is that veteran. So it's kind of like whoever wins a spot, we're still in good hands, because if that guy gets injured or whatever happens, we got the other guy that can come in. I feel like we're in a good spot. Is this our future? I say it all depends. A lot of folks are comparing Minshew to kind of like a Rich Gannon who bounced around the league, who was that starter that just didn't, he had to come in, win games, but then the team didn't really believe in him. He just had to find a home where he found a home with Raiders and John Gruden. He became the MVP a couple years later, but a lot of folks are comparing that because he has the heart. He has the heart. He wants to win, and he's gonna go out there and make as much plays as he can. So I feel like we just gotta see. Both they both can't have the long ball, but as you can see, they both can throw it deep. So
I do hope, though. I hate to be optimistic, but I'm just speaking out loud. I hope it's not a case of, the quote from, I believe it was John Madden who said this. If you think you have two quarterbacks, you really got none. Oh, yeah. I hope it's not that case. I hope I hope one of these guys, whoever wins the job, can prove to be the long-term answer. My only it was a minute criticism and something hopefully I can see from him moving forward if he does earn the job and with experience and when his confidence grows. Something I do want to see from O'Connell is I want to see a little bit more leadership skills. You know what I mean? Like I personally haven't seen as much yet. He hasn't needed to show that yet, but if he does earn the job and he gets more confidence, I want to see a little bit more from him. I want to see him being a little bit more vocal, seeing him, being willing to take the lead and not afraid to, speak his mind and say what he has to say if it needs to be. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see that so much in his rookie year. Granted, he was thrust into a position which he wasn't supposed to be in, being the starter. But I hope to see that moving forward. If he starts and his confidence grows, that's what I want to see from Aidan.
Now that'd be interesting to see. I mean, that should be able to start in preseason. It's not even getting the start. He should be able to, start commanding. Because I mean, what you said is exactly what AP said. I believe it was getting towards the end of the season. He was asked that in one of his press conferences what they'd like to see, and he said, "I like to see him more vocal. I like to, to me, your leader vocal is kind of the same thing. Is right in there and calling people out when they make the mistake, not just saying, okay, we'll do better, whatever, no, you fucked up. Let's, we'll get it right, but just, go be vocal.
A fair balance, you know what I mean? A fair balance. Not going too hard, but at the same time, not being afraid to take charge, take the lead, speak out when it needs to be done. I mean, look, again, we were talking about Derek Carr before, but like, I saw that in his rookie season. You know what I mean? Like, I saw that little crumbs of that. You know what I mean? I remember that game 10 weeks in when we lost 10 straight his rookie year. And the first time we won a game was against the Chiefs week 10. And the way he got everybody together and they had like a group huddle and prayer after the game and seeing them all celebrate, like that was a little hint of like his leadership skills. And I wanted to see that moving forward. And for a while we saw that. But back to Aidan O'Connell, that's history. Like I said, I just want to see. I want to see that coming out of him once he gets his confidence up. And that's on 6, my guy. Salute to you. It's a little inside joke.
And I think we probably will. I think the reason we didn't see it a lot last season was, like you said, he being thrust into it. He was trying to learn the game, learn the speed, figure things out, doing what his coaches said. I mean, a lot of people want to talk about, that Kansas City game. Oh, he didn't throw. He did exactly what the coaches said. The coach didn't tell him, go out there, be a leader. The coach said, just do this and go. And I think, and I'm with you. I hope that's what it was. And, we'll see more of it. And I think preseason is going to go. If he has it in him, we should start to see it here in preseason. And starting to be that leader and that vocal and, yelling, helping hype up, on the defense, hyping players up, going and celebrating with them and everything. When they do good, because I mean that's a big thing too. I hate to see a quarterback have throw a ball, his player does a big play, and he turns around and walks off the field while everybody else is celebrating. No, be up in there, showing them, hype them up and go. And I'm hoping that what we didn't see last year was mostly because he spent, like you said, he was thrust in a situation that he wasn't even expected to be in.
Right.
Nobody expected him to be the starter for what was it? Almost 9 starts or whatever.
So I'm not alone in thinking with my assessment. Like, do you guys feel that way too? That like,
I like to see. No, I agree with you there. I just think, giving him the benefit of the doubt, he had to learn on the fly. He had that Chargers game in his mind when he's told, okay, you're going to be the starter. You know, when we thought he was going to start against the Bears, he was, the second stringer instead, and we had to watch Hoyer. So you have the confidence, and then his coach, who's going, gets fired, all this, and now he's got, AP, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is what I want out of you. And I think he was just trying to
under the
follow
bus
the letter
that he
of
didn't
the law.
perform in his first game as starter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think he was trying to follow the letter of the law of what he was told.
That's why I said that.
And I hope.
That's why I said that. When AP took over and he made Aidan O'Connell the starter, just treat it like this is just an extended preseason going into next year. We wasn't expecting to be on the brink of a playoff berth. We ended up losing a close game to the Colts on that. Gardner Minshew now is on our team, but I said because, like we said, you have a rookie head coach, an interim head coach with AP. You had a rookie offensive coordinator with not even half a playbook.
You never called a play in his life.
And he's going against. He's playing with guys that he never really found a continuity with. He was playing with a lot of the second stringers and a lot of the third stringers and fourth stringers. If you look at his preseason tapes, he had good continuity with those guys like Wilkinson, and he got Tucker basically. He got Wilkinson the job on the roster. He got Tucker coming into games because of the play he had with them, knowing them throughout the offseason. So now with him practicing with the first team, with Davante Adams, with Jacoby Myers, with even Bowers the rookie, and with Mayer,
Michael Mayer,
he can get. Who knows with an actual offense with Getsy that Davante Adams is real high on. Who's to say that O'Connell makes leaps and bounds and he's able to have control of this offense, be comfortable in his offense, to tell guys, hey, get over here, hey, go this way, hey, this and that, because he knows the offense. It seemed like I said on El Capitan show, we didn't know what the identity was on that offense, even with McDaniels. So it's hard to say, go do this, say, go do that, if we don't know what we're trying to do in his offense. So that's what I say. He gets familiarized with this new offense. They're doing the what's that called? Their offensive line is doing the blocking scheme. The blocking scheme.
No.
Zone.
The zone blocking scheme. They could be heavily reliant on Zeus with that one, where it's not going to be on the quarterback to have to be the one to win games. So,
and that's where Bowers comes in to help, with the run game. That's where, and I was actually going to bring this up. I just hope no matter who the quarterback is, that the offensive line is good enough to allow them to be able to make the plays, make the throws, or the run, the run game, which I have faith in Zeus. I think he showed us, the Kansas City game. He's the reason why we won that game. Him and the defense. He kept Mahomes off the field. That defense scored those 2 touchdowns. Don't get me wrong, the defense helped. But, Zeus kept us to the point where we didn't have to rely on O'Connell to throw the ball in the cold. And I was at that game, so, don't say it wasn't fucking cold down on that field. Trust me, I'm in the damn Jack Jones highlight. I was close enough to the damn field. I know what those players were feeling, and everything. We didn't have to rely on that. And it's going to come down to whoever the quarterback is if that offensive line can do a well enough job to allow them the time to make the play. Right. And not just crumble, because we got some rookies that are going to start. We got, Van Roten. Some people were iffy on him. Some people were, low on him. We got rookies. We brought in Pete. We've got some holes. One of the rookies we're going to put on the left side. People thought maybe the right side, but they're actually going to put him on the left side. That's Glaze. We got Powers, who everyone's raving about, but he's still a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. And, we got Mumford, Parham. We got some people there, but, can they mesh? And maybe that's where this training camp in Costa Mesa is going to allow that to happen. And they can, do this zone. I mean, because zone block is not easy to do. You got guards pulling, you got, shit like that. And, you got to have athletic offensive linemen to do this. So that's just
Right.
what I hope, that they're not, that they can allow the offense enough time. Because, I mean, Trey Tucker, he's got the speed, but you got to give him the time to get out there and open. You got to have enough time so you don't allow Myers or Adams to get blown up because you just threw the ball across the center of the field right into a part where they get blown up and hurt, and now they're out of the game.
Yeah, right. I have a question though. Do you think, I know we got Bowers in our number 13 pick, but do you think that we missed out not drafting a quarterback in the first round or trying to trade up to get any of those guys that were up there? Because everyone is like, well, it's either going to be O'Connell or Minshew, a guy who didn't look all that great last year in O'Connell, and Minshew is bouncing around in the league. Do you think that we missed out on not drafting one of these guys or trying to trade up to one of these guys? Do you think that we missed out on this one?
Well, I personally think that they tried to, but they couldn't. I mean, Jaden Daniels was a bridge too far. You know what I mean? Like the asking price for trying to get up and get him, being that they wanted him, was just too much. I mean, more than 3 first rounders. Like 3 first rounders for me was my absolute ceiling for what I believe that they were willing to give, but they wanted more because Washington wanted the guy and they were a quarterback needy team too. So plan B was Penix. He went to the Falcons.
Thank
whatever.
God.
You know what I mean? Like, so those were the 2 guys I believe that they were looking at, and those 2 guys alone. The rest of the guys, it would just be a case of, all right, we'll be settling for those guys rather than taking a guy at that position in the draft where we believe is a better fit and someone that we actually want, rather than just settling for these other guys over there. But I'm not going to cry about spilt milk. We didn't get him. We didn't take any other quarterbacks. So whatever, we're going to roll with the guys we have now. But as for what you were saying about the offensive line, like I think there's a lot to like there in regards to, like, it's a good mix of, like, they're quite young, this offensive line. You know what I mean? But there's still experience there with Colton Miller, who's, what is he, 29 this year, one of the better left tackles in the league. Parham coming into his 3rd season, who's been playing quite well. You know what I mean? And could take that 3rd-year leap and be a really good guard. Andre James, look, he's middle of the pack, below middle of the pack, but I think he does a decent enough job as long as the rest of the pieces does all right around him. We drafted a guy, Jackson Powers Johnson, who we believe is going to be really good. How long it takes for him to get up to speed. Can he be good straight away? Will be a point of interest. I believe he can be. That right tackle spot, for me, it's Thayer Munford's job to lose. And I'm hoping, again, a player who has been in the same amount of time as Dylan Parham. It was in the same draft class. But for me, like, yeah, he's taken his licks. But with all things considered, I think he's done, like, when he's been given his chance to come in at start, either at right tackle or left tackle, or take some snaps here and there, he showed enough for me to be confident in his future. Because, I mean, it's like I said, I give your first 2 seasons, I give you concessions for as long as he's showing progression. And for me, like, he showed more promise and potential than a lot of these other cats that we've drafted in yesteryears that we've drafted a lot higher than him in his first 2 seasons. So if he can take that 3rd-year leap and make that right tackle job his own, that would be fantastic. I just want somebody to finally make that right tackle position their own, because it's always been a point of weakness for the longest time now, outside of Trent Brown, who, when he was on the field, yeah, I know, like, we shake our head, like, you know, getting him on the field was a problem, but when he was on the field, he was the best right tackle we've had in the last decade and a bit.
Since Lincoln Kennedy, basically.
Since Lincoln Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, since I've been a fan, it's been a turnstile of guys like, you know, Khalif Barnes, Menelik Watson, Austin Howard, God, like, you know, Brandon Parker, Alex Leatherwood, you know what I'm saying? Like, the list goes on. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope that Thayer Munford can take the job and make that job his own. And I for one, am pretty confident with him. being that guy. You're talking about whatever the zone scheme or the power scheme. Look, I don't care what scheme it is. Just make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it ain't going to be power. I know that. I like Mumford, and I agree with you. I think it's his job to lose. It's his job to lose. I do like Mumford. I just don't think, they had Van Roten over there. His first 2 years, it was one of those.
Sorry, is he still on our roster, Van Roten? I believe he's gone.
No. He's not on the roster. He only had it 1 year. He's done. That's why it's his job to lose here. I like Mumford. I like what we've done, there. I think I like Parham as center better than I do Andre James. But, I don't make the calls. Right. We do know that AP did say Glaze is going to be on the left side. He's depth on the left side. So it's really between Wagner and Mumford. But I think Mumford, and to get Mumford, we got him in the 7th round to be a starting right tackle.
Right.
In year 3. I mean, that's a steal in my book. I mean, that's one of those.
To get any kind of burn out of a 7th round. How many of these 7th rounders have we drafted? A lot of the time, they don't even make the roster, let alone contribute, let alone be a starter and a decent starter. You know what I mean? And for me, Mumford has only trended upwards. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I've asked in your first 2 seasons. By year 3, if he can make that position his own, that's a steal in round 7.
If he could be what we think he's going to be, I agree. It's a steal. We're going to look back at the drafts and go, okay, that was a diamond in the rough. That's a diamond in in the rough, and going. Like you said, they're young, and that's the only thing that scares me is the fact that they're young, and we got in some cases so young, but we know Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be a starter on the go. I mean, that boy's a beast. I mean, he was meant to be a Raider. When you watch him, the only thing my only flaw with him I see is just getting off of blocks and not pancaking his guy. He blocks so well that he kind of just puts the guy on the ground, and that's kind of it. I like to see him get to the 2nd level, 3rd level, within the running game and shit like that, and to extend those those plays even longer. I mean, if we get 30 yards run because he didn't pancake the guy and go out, I mean, that's the only flaw I see with Powers. That's the only flaw.
One thing I do want to see from somebody on the offensive line that I haven't seen yet from any of these guys. Granted, Jackson Powers is a rookie. He's going to get his chance. Maybe he can be that guy, but I want to see an enforcer emerge. You know what I mean? Someone who's going to take that job and be that Richie Incognito or Donald Penn kind of cat. The first one in, when things go down, that the guy is going to lay down the law. Someone who's going to get in the face and when things go south with the other team, he's going to be in there.
Well, we kind of got that with Colt Miller right now. We kind of got that. I mean,
Colt Miller's a nice guy. I don't really see that and that's fine. Like, he's good at what he does, but I just hope, I just want someone with a little bit of nastiness, because to me, Miller's a nice guy. Parham's a nice guy. James is a nice guy. Mumford, haven't really seen too much out of him. I just want a little bit of nastiness, like controlled nastiness, not someone who's undisciplined, but someone who's, you know what I mean? That guy who
you said
remember when Derek Carr got hit against the Chiefs back, and remember all the offensive line led by Donald Penn, Kalichi Osemele, and Gabe Jackson and Rodney Hudson, another one. They were all in there. Yeah. Those guys were all enforcers. I hope maybe the comparison with Jackson Powers was someone gave to him was Richie Incognito. And I'm hoping from a play standpoint and a controlled aggression standpoint, not like just going off the scales, kind of, undisciplined. You know what I mean? But you guys get
Kyle Turley, like a Kyle Turley,
or like whoever maybe, but like a Taylor Lewan. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's a good example. Like someone who's willing to get in there and, as I said, lay down the law. I want an enforcer to emerge from this offensive line.
Well, with Aaron Mumford, he did win the job over Illuminor. He took his spot at right tackle, but then when Colt Miller went down, Illuminor could not play that left side as comfortable as he did on the right side, so they had to switch tackles and move Mumford to that left side. And the fact that Mumford can play both sides is a plus when it comes to depth, but I feel like Mumford will take that position at right tackle because he earned it last year and only had to move across because of depth need. But he won that spot over Illuminor last year, and that's what I'm going to base it off of. So I feel like the right side with the Illuminor, if he can just, like you said, continue to progress, going alongside with Parham on that the Parham's on the left side. With the rookie. As long as they can just stay healthy and consistent, this line can be able to protect, whether if it's AOC in the back or Minshew moving around. But I think Mumford can win the job, and he'll show his leaps and bounds, especially going into this coming season.
Would you say, just to give more perspective, would you say in Mumford's first 2 seasons, would you be more impressed with his performance than, say, the likes of Leatherwood in the first 2 seasons, the likes of David Sharp, the likes of Brandon Parker? You know what I mean? Guys were all drafted a lot higher than him. Menelik Watson's another guy. You know what I mean? I would take Mumford's first 2 seasons that he's been with us over all of those guys. And they were taken a lot higher, and they all flamed out. You know what I mean? So just a little bit to consider. Like, you know, it's for me, it's positive.
I can't argue with your statement there. I do have a question for you, though. You brought it up during El Capitan's show. How do you feel about the tight end room now?
I like it. I like that it's a young, very talented. We've heavily invested in it with draft picks. I mean, we drafted that guy Michael Mayer last year, 2nd round. We traded up for him. Brock Bowers, who upon further review, looking at his tape and educating myself, because you know I did a live reaction to the draft pick. I didn't know who he was because I didn't think tight end was a position we'd attack in the 1st round. We took him, and the guy looks to be a stud. From all accounts, he's one of, if not the best tight end prospect to come out of the draft in a while. I just hope that, and on paper, there's no reason why it shouldn't, that it translates over to the NFL level. Michael Mayer, like a guy who, like I said, we drafted high last year. I mean, I want to see a little bit more from him. I mean, you know, granted, he was a rookie last year, like, and his run blocking was quite good with all things considered. He did some things, but I would like to see a little bit more production from the reception standpoint and get a little bit more involved. But I don't know whether we're going to play dual tight end sets or whether the draft pick of Bowers will relegate Michael Mayer to be a rotational depth guy. I mean, time will tell. I mean, on paper, we have the personnel to run these dual tight end sets, but like, if that's what our strength's going to be, I want to see us actually utilize it, because we said that like with the last regime and we just never saw it. I mean, at one point we had Foster Moreau and Darren Waller. Darren Waller, when at the time was one of the better tight ends in the leagues, and Foster Moreau is no scrub, and we never saw them on the field at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I just, again, like, you know, these guys are young. I want one of these guys to emerge and make that tight end position their own and continue the legacy, because tight end is usually a spot where we've, you know, despite like where our deficiency may be on the roster, like we've had a good lineage of tight ends since my time as a fan started. You know, we had Zach Miller, and then when we moved on from him, you know, remember was it Brandon Myers? It was good for a season, you know.
And then we had Cook,
Michael Rivera, who was okay for a while. Then Jared Cook was another guy who was quite good. Darren Waller, who was a steal when we took him off the practice squad, who was an absolute nobody, and then he just emerged out of
from Baltimore,
nowhere. And Baltimore, yes. And you know, say what you will about how it ended with Waller, but at his best, he was one of the top. He was considered top 3 tight end in the league. So
I think Waller's thing had to do with McDaniels more than anything. I think
I'm just making a point that, like, you know, I would rather, you know, when these players are no longer on our radar, I would rather look at their entire run rather than say, oh, you know, he did this in the end, like blah, 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 blah. I would rather say, look, he had 3 good years with us. At one point in time, he was one of the better tight ends in the league. And I'm going to remember and appreciate him for that. But it brings us back to the now. We have 2 very young, very talented. They're unproven at the NFL level. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to stress that. We got Harrison Bryant as a depth guy, and then we got Fotheringham and whoever else, watch Shanker to round out the depth and fight for that final spot. But I just want one of these two to emerge as the next great Raider tight end.
Well, I see shades of Casper in Bowers. That's what I see in him. And, but even better, I mean, as we brought up before, Bowers was up for the Lombardi Award 2 years running. He was a finalist, which is a not offensive, but a lineman award. So we know he could block. So we know he could help in the run game. We know he could catch. I mean, we saw the highlights. I mean, the boy is, as you said, the highest touted. He's been touted as a generational player.
Right.
And
I just want that to translate over to the NFL. That's all I'm saying. Like on paper, there's no reason why it shouldn't, but I just want to see it happen.
And I think that's up to Getsy on being able to build a offensive play a plan around the 12 personnel with the 2 tight ends, because I think with both tight ends in the game is going to make the big difference.
Do you think that would? I remember you brought up Trey Tucker, Savage, just before. Do you think that may relegate his snaps, and the fact that we signed those other 2 guys, like what was it, Guyton,
Gallup,
and
Gallup,
right? Do you think that relegates Tucker in terms of like how much we'll see him on the field? Being that, look, Devontae is going to be our unequivocal starter at one side, and we've also got Jacoby Myers, who's emerged as one of the better number 2s in the league, or that we've had on our roster for a little while, since the days of Crabtree. Like I'm just looking at like how much game time is Tucker going to see if we do see those 12 personnel?
Well, last year Tucker did beat out who was the receiver that we got from the Chargers? Was it one of the Williams?
Yeah.
So you had that veteran that came in, and Tucker ended up beating him out in camp, where they released Williams, and I don't know where he went after that. But I just think it's more of a
back to the Chargers, I think.
Well, I just think it's more of a veteran presence. You have more camp guys for competition. I don't think that Tucker is. I don't think he's gonna prove it. He's only going into the second year. But I just think it's more of camp depth. You got 2 veteran guys, Gallup, who had injuries with the Cowboys, who probably wants to still prove that he can be a factor, a receiver in the NFL, and Guyton, which I forgot where Guyton was from, but I just think it's just more,
Chargers, I believe.
I just think it's more of veteran presence, camp bodies. I still think Tucker will have an edge because he has that speed and he's still young, and like I said, if the offensive coordinator, Getsy, can form plays for these players, like the tight end position and the slot receivers, now that Renfro is not with us anymore, it's just up to the players. But I think Tucker still has the edge, being that he has familiarity with the quarterbacks, or with O'Connell, and being a young speedster. Because, like I said, Gallup was he had a lot of injuries in Denver, and maybe Guyton. I'm sorry, with the Cowboys. I meant to say Dallas. And Guyton, probably being with the Chargers, with Telesco, knowing him. So I just think it's just more camp competition. I don't think Tucker's spot on the roster is in jeopardy.
Yeah, that's not what I was trying to say. Don't get twisted. Like, he's going to be on this roster. What I was trying to say is, like, how often do you see him taking the field, being that, like I said, if we're going to run this 12 personnel and you got Devontae and Jacoby as our 2 outside guys, how often are we going to see Tucker?
Well, we're not going to run the 12 personnel every damn play. I mean, we're going to see 12 personnel, when going, on certain things. Tucker could be a 3rd down back, when especially, or even a 1st down back. If you want to change it up and not do running, because that was one thing that we became predictable with Josh Jacobs was 1st down, we're running the ball with Josh Jacobs. And, people were able to key in on that. Gallup, I agree with Savage on this. I think might be a camp guy. You got to remember, he's got I think his contract was $1 million. something like that. I mean, he's a 1 year. You know, he's a cheap guy that we can cut ties with real easy and not have to worry about anything in that. Yes, I think he has the chip. I kind of look at Gallup as our Russell Wilson. We got him cheap. If he has a chip on his shoulder and can make the team, he could be in there. But answering your question, I think, you know, and not to mention how many end arounds did we do? We used Tucker in the run game as well. So you could throw him in there with that going, even with Bowers, because, you know, he was also in the halfback position. So I think, is it going to cut into his playing time? Maybe a little bit, but it all depends on how he comes out too. You know, the 12 personnel is going to be there at times, but there's other times when to come out with 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. I mean, you know, it's going to be that thing. I think he's going to be that fit in. Not to mention, maybe he gets a bigger role on special teams.
I hope
so.
I hope he can be that returner. I hope he can.
Well, I mean, between him and Lave, I think that'd be a good 1-2 punt, you know, for a punt return and kickoff return. I know what the hell did we talked about earlier? Who the hell was it? God damn it, I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, I think, you know, can his playing time get cut? I think a little bit, but you know, he still throws that wrinkle because of his speed. He throws that wrinkle in there. That way we don't, you know, you can put him on the field and not use Adams as the decoy all the time. When he's on the field with that speed, they got to respect that. As long as he can get both feet inbounds, which, as Savage pointed out throughout the season, last season, he kind of had an issue with that. If he could fix that issue, I think he'll get more playing time.
I hope he can make that return. He didn't really get too many opportunities, if any, outside of preseason to return. And like, I hope at the very least, like, either him or somebody can give us a little bit more production from that standpoint. Because I mean,
well, we know Lave was brought in just for that reason of the new kickoff rule.
Whoever it may be, I just want a little bit more production. Someone who can take it back to that. It doesn't have to be every time, but someone who can do the job. I mean, you know, DJ Turner's another guy, a guy I'm actually high on. We've discussed behind the scenes, Asylum, being that, like, you know, he hasn't had a chance to really, we haven't utilized him outside of special teams, but what I've noticed with him on the special teams department, and a lot of people haven't really noticed from him, is his gunning capabilities. Like, if you notice him as the gunner, he has been, he did a phenomenal job last season. Whenever he would be whenever we would kick down the field, he'd either be one of, if not the first person to be there at the point of attack, and he would make his tackle and take them down, even causing fumbles, which were recovered. And on the next play was a, you know, we ended up scoring a touchdown. And that's something that can keep you on a roster for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I made the point that, like, you know, remember Taiwan Jones, a guy who we drafted 2010 or 11. He was in the league up until like 2022. He never lit the house on fire as a running back. He was a rotational guy at best, but what he did bring to the table was being a special teams guy and a gunner. And to me personally, what I saw from Turner, I believe he was the best gunner we've had on our roster since Taiwan Jones. So if he can find another role, maybe a returner, then cool. But like, he may just do enough, being that that's how good he is at that position, to make the final roster. So don't be surprised to see him still there come final roster cuts.
No, and we talked about that. That's who I was thinking of that we talked about earlier. Right. And you know, and I agree with you on that. You know, and special teams, a lot of these guys, especially these rookies, these younger guys, that's how they get to stay on the team, is because of special teams, and earn that right to try to fight for that spot, that whatever position that they are playing, linebacker, running back, whatever it is. And Turner, you know, as a wide receiver, I think Turner loses more wide receiver playing time than
Tucker
Tucker does.
Yeah,
he wasn't getting any playing time at wide receiver.
No, Turner played a few times. He got time at wide receiver.
Yeah, I know, but he basically got pretty much next to nothing.
But and I think it's going to be even less now. I mean, I think it's more the depth at wide receiver that we have, and the tight end, going into 12 personnel. I think Turner's been relegated to his special teams, and that's about the way he makes the team.
Right, and that's how he's been able to stick around. Like I highlighted with his gunning capabilities last season, it was that good that even though we didn't utilize him as a wide receiver, we didn't utilize him as a returner, yet he was there doing some things. And that's all I ask, from a lot of these guys who are either late round draft picks or undrafted free agents. You know what I mean? I'm not asking you to light the house on fire. I'm not asking you to become pro bowlers or be starters or good starters, whatever it may be. But if you can find a role, if you can just do some things when your number is called, much like DJ Turner, then cool. That's all I ask.
And yeah. Well, I mean, with the XFL rules, I mean, DJ Turner could probably, as a returner, make some head turns, but he's going against Lobby, who's probably the reason why they drafted him, because I don't really see him too much being that running back when you have Zeus and you have Abdullah back there. So it's going to be interesting.
Too. You got the bet with Maxson.
It's going to be interesting this camp, or during camp, during preseason. Yeah,
it's going to be a very interesting battle, that running back by committee room in preseason. I mean, to me personally, Zamir White's going to be our starter. Whether he can prove to be a good starter consistently, for me, he still needs to prove that. But he did enough at the end of last year to show that he can play and be that number one guy for now. But every other spot on that running back, like being the spell back and then the third down back, all those jobs are up for grabs. So that's going to be a big point of interest in preseason.
Yes, and that's we'll be keeping an eye out on this offseason with all the moves we made with the quarterback room, especially with Getsy, because we don't know what we're getting with Getsy. Everyone keeps pointing or keeps talking about his 2 years with the Bears, but who's to say he wasn't handcuffed with was it Eberflus, the head coach of the Bears, not allowing him to call what he wants to call. AP will allow Getsy to call what he wants to, call his own offense. And with someone like Devontae Adams, who understands how Getsy calls his offense, that'll be a good guy out there to where this offense can be night and day compared to last year. So
I think this offense is going to definitely score more than 20 points. At time, depending who they're playing, I'm going to go like that. But I don't think we're going to have that. Are we going to score more than 20 points this, in here? I think with this offense under Getsy, it's going to be improved. I'm going to use the word improved compared to last year.
But we should still give him time. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like with Patrick Graham. Remember his first season as defensive coordinator? Our defense wasn't that good. And I for one, was not impressed. I was quite a loud critique of Patrick Graham being that. A lot of people were hyping him up to be the Lord and Savior of our defense that we've been looking for a while. Year one, he didn't show that. But by year two, he definitely changed my mind drastically. I give him my seal of approval moving forward. And hopefully that can be the case. If he can get it done as year one, fantastic. But I'm going to give him time.
To Savage's point, though, is Patrick Graham was handcuffed by Josh McDaniels. And then as soon as AP took over and said, you do you, this is your defense, you do you, that's when it took off in that second year, and he was able to basically prove to everybody that, he's one hell of a deep coordinator. And I think under Getsy, under those same situations, I think he was hamstrung to do what he wanted to do, implement. Huh?
No, you kind of froze and you came back.
Oh, sorry.
You're back there.
I think the Bears head coach hamstrung Getsy, and we didn't get to see him at his full capabilities as an offensive coordinator.
I hope so.
And he'll get it with AP now.
Yeah, because they also got rid of Justin Fields, the Bears did. So you can see right there that it probably wasn't the offensive coordinator. So we will see this coming off season going into the preseason. But we want to thank Afakazi Raider for coming on to the show. We appreciate you. Let me put my there we go. We appreciate you coming on with your insight and yeah, how you feel about the quarterback battle and the other battles in camp. Any last words you want to say to the audience?
No, look, I appreciate you for having me on, Savage and Asylum. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak my mind and share my takes with you guys. It's always good fun, and I've been watching you guys. I haven't been able to catch you guys live, but I've been watching the replays, and I, for one, I'll keep supporting the content, and as for what you said behind the scenes, my condolences, Savage. I'm sorry to hear, my brother.
Thank you.
The circle of life it can be a bitch sometimes. So
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll put my applause on again. Thank you very much. Oh, whoa. Hold on. All right. Wait. Hold on. There we go. And we're back. Yeah, so that was Afakazi Raider. I appreciate him.
Supporting our channel for one.
Yes.
Coming on and giving his opinion on the future of the Raiders.
Yes, because he lives in the future. With the time zones out there, he lives in the future. But we appreciate you supporting the channel also.
For him.
Yeah, we appreciate you, and he's a prime example of how Raider fans are not just, in Oakland, in LA, in Las Vegas. We go global.
Oh, yeah. He is in Australia, and again, appreciate him. This was his morning time. He woke up to this, and it was kind of a last minute thing. So we appreciate him coming on. He does do his own podcast, so go check him out on his. I wish I knew the name and we had a chance for him to say something. We'll get the name and make sure we shout it out next time, though. But go to his channel, subscribe to his channel and check out his Raider podcast.
And there you go. With that, we're going to end the show right here. Asylum, any last words for you?
No, just I know you're not going to be here next week. Just know we got this shit covered. We'll put on a show. You just worry about what you need to worry about and handle what you need to handle, and we'll see you back the following week.
Yes. Yes, I won't be back because I have the services for my grandmother. So, yeah, but there'll still be a good show because you being the one that's been on every single episode of this podcast that we put together, I know that whoever you have as a co-host, you guys will carry on, and until the next week, and into the next. Well, I'll be back the week after. So, anyways, with that said, thank you everyone who was on the podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Cage Match on YouTube. Maybe I still got to talk about what we went through. Oh, not what we went through, but over this past weekend at the Raider Nation kickoff. But that'll be on a future episode. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, with that said, good night, Raider Nation. And we'll government name. Asylum will be here next week. So he'll be here to carry along his streak of being on every single episode because the best ability is availability, and he's keeping this streak going. With that said, like we always
for as long as I can.
For as long as you're allowed to. With that, we end every show like we usually do with a word from Coach Wallace, my high school football coach, aka Raider Nation, and at the Oakland parking lots. Raider Milt. With that, good night, Raider Nation. Good night, Asylum.
Good night.
And good night, everybody else. Have a good night. And let's go, Raiders. We're gonna go 17-0. Oh yeah, baby.
I don't give a fuck what our shit is. 17-0. We're going undefeated.
17-0. All right, good night.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight. Again, I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.